It's 6:42. Early voting begins in 6 days for the November 8th primary election. Louisiana voters will head to the polls next Tuesday, October 25th through November 1st. Voters will decide on the Senate seat held by John Kennedy right now, 5 congressional seats, a state Senate seat, and a whole lot more on the ballot. We've posted a link on our website, WWLTV.com, that'll show you all the important information and sample ballots. Just look for that under the links tab on our homepage.
And this week, we're making sure you are informed ahead of the November 8th election. So we continue to introduce you to the candidates vying for U.S. Senator for Louisiana. There are 13 candidates in this race. Senator John Kennedy is running for re-election. We did invite him and his top challengers based on campaign funding to join us this week on WWL TV. Senator Kennedy's team told us that his schedule was completely full this week. Yesterday, we spoke with Gary Chambers Jr., and tomorrow, Sarita Steib will join us. But today, we're learning more about candidate Luke Mixon.
I grew up on my family's farm in Bunkie, Louisiana. After attending the Naval Academy, I became a fighter pilot, graduated from Top Gun, and served 20 years fighting extremism around the world. Now I'm fighting extremism at home, running against Senator Kennedy, because forcing rape victims to give birth and risking women's lives are not the American values I fought to defend. I'll vote to codify Roe and protect women's health care. I'm Luke Mixon. I approve this message, and I'm asking you to join us at lukemixon.com.
All right, so Luke Mixon is a U.S. Navy veteran and has the endorsement of Governor John Bel Edwards. He is here with us this morning to introduce himself to viewers and tell us more about his campaign. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we think it's so important that voters know who their options are when they head to the polls. So tell people a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, Luke Mixon, born and raised Central Louisiana, went off to the Naval Academy after high school, lifelong dream of being a fighter pilot. Did that for 20 years in the military, flying F-18s. Graduated right before 9/11, so spent most of my time flying off aircraft carriers in support of our operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria. Retired, married to my high school girlfriend. We've been together for 20 years. We have 2 great kids, and a bit dissatisfied with our representation in Washington, D.C., specifically dissatisfied with Senator Kennedy. So we're working hard to unseat him on November 8th.
Yeah, you're not a career politician, as you've told us. That's not your history. What made you want to run?
Quite the opposite. This is my first time running for public office, but I want to run for the same reasons that I wanted to serve in the military. I love this nation. I moved back to Louisiana after I retired from active duty because I love this state, and we're being abandoned. Senator Kennedy is one of these 6 senators who voted to overturn our election on January 6th. He voted against an infrastructure bill that brings better roads and bridges, clean water and drainage to our cities, internet access to rural Louisiana, and storm mitigation for all of Louisiana. He voted against all of that, calling it stupid stuff. You know, I've traveled this state. Exactly 0 people have called those things stupid, and look, we need to change.
All right, and you have the endorsement, as I mentioned, of Governor John Bel Edwards. Were you surprised by that?
I was certainly honored and privileged. You know, I think we have a lot of things in common. I believe we both describe ourselves as somewhat moderate Democrats. We have similar beliefs, similar backgrounds, both went to military academies, both served as military officers. And look, I'm honored and privileged to have his endorsement. We are the leading fundraising Democrat. We're leading in the polls. We are surging. I believe Senator Kennedy has reached his ceiling of approval. I'm really excited. I believe this thing's going to runoff on November 8th.
Yeah, you mentioned there, you both described as moderate Democrats. I should point out the Advocate did a great article saying that no other Democratic candidate has won statewide since 2008 except Governor John Bel Edwards. Do you see being a moderate as one of your incentives for people to vote for you in this state?
Absolutely. Look, our state we've proven what type of leader we're looking for in the form of Governor John Bel Edwards. In fact, we've done it twice, right, in 2015 and 2019. And I believe he is someone who continues to put the people of Louisiana first. I believe, like I said, he and I just share a lot of beliefs. We're both moderate and willing to work with others, willing to work in a bipartisan fashion. Look, that's something Senator Kennedy is unwilling to do. He will not work with the Biden administration. He will not work across the aisle to get what's done for Louisiana. There's so many examples of that. Everything from the infrastructure bill I mentioned to January 6th. To the CHIPS bill just now that incentivizes the manufacturing of semiconductors, to the Inflation Reduction Act, which incentivizes the production and manufacturing of cleaner energy here in Louisiana. He votes against all of it because he's more interested in his political party than he is the people he represents.
All right, and as you know, we had another candidate in this race, Gary Chambers Jr., on yesterday. He's billed as a progressive candidate. His argument would that be to moderate in a state that needs so much change is just not enough to make the huge changes we need to see in Louisiana. What's your response to that?
Well, I've got to know Mr. Chambers a little bit. I certainly respect the work he's done in the community, but my argument is not with Mr. Chambers. I got in this race because of Senator Kennedy. Specifically, I got in this race because on January 6th, after a violent mob stormed the Capitol, after over 60 court cases determined we had a free, fair, and accurate election, he decided to spit in the face of our democracy, spit in the face of the very democracy that I and so many of our family members have fought, bled, and some have died for. He lacked the courage, he lacked the patriotism to do the right thing, and he voted to overturn our election. I won't stand for that. I won't stand for that. This American democracy is too fragile. It's worth fighting for, and I'm glad to do that.
All right, and do you think that you or any of the other candidates in this race, the top three, all Democrats, have an actual chance at beating Kennedy? He has about $15 million in campaign funds. You have almost 600,000, and you're the closest. Is this enough money? Is there enough support for the Democrats in this race?
Yes. Look, we are the. I'm really excited about our campaign. We've been running TV statewide now for a couple weeks. We are on the radio now. We have canvassers throughout the state. We are surging. We are really certain. The polls indicate that. Like I said, we are the leading poll challenger. We have the most money. We have the resources available to get to a runoff.
All right, and you're mentioning polls, so I should be fair. We've looked at three top polls. You are the lead in one of those polls, and two of the others, it has Chambers at 16 and 14%, and you with a little bit less than him. But in all three, Kennedy has more than 50% of the vote. Is that concerning?
Well, sure. Look, anything worthwhile is going to be hard, and I'm not going to describe this as something that's going to be easy to get it done. I will mention with those polls that the most recent one, after we went up on TV and radio, we are leading pretty overwhelming actually, but it won't be easy. No doubt about it. But I got 20 days now. We're working hard. We're getting around the state. I'm excited, and I'm really enthusiastic about our campaign, and I'm excited to join you back here on November 9th and get ready for the runoff.
All right, before I let you go, I do want to let you speak on abortion rights. I know that's a big issue right now, and you have kind of wavered in your views on that. Will you tell us your view on abortion rights?
Well, I don't think we've wavered. I think we just came to terms with a new reality. I've fought extremism my entire life. I fought it overseas, but now we're fighting it here at home. And when the Dobbs decision was made, when Roe was overturned, we saw the extremist laws like the ones here in Louisiana that force the victims of rape and incest to give birth, that threaten the lives of women. We saw those enacted, and that's not something I can stand for. Those extremist laws are just that. They're extremists. And I believe the answer to that is to put things back the way they were, and that's why I said I'd gladly support codifying Roe.
All right, and President Biden, of course, wants to bypass the filibuster to see that happen. Is that something you would support?
Well, look, I want to codify Roe. Getting rid of the filibuster scares me a little bit because there are so many things that Republicans said they're going to do, and the filibuster protects us from that. That includes Medicare, that includes Social Security, and that includes the Affordable Care Act. And I believe by getting rid of the filibuster, we put some of those things in jeopardy. It's critical that we preserve those. It's critical that I become our next United States Senator to preserve those things.
All right, Luke Mixon, thank you so much for joining us and telling viewers more about yourself. Guys, as we mentioned, we're speaking with the top contenders vying for the U.S. Senate seat for Louisiana. You can watch today's interview again and yesterday's interview with candidate Gary Chambers Jr. on our app, YouTube page, website, WWLTV.com, so you're ready for this November 8th election.